Good day, I'm Askar Relief, and these are the latest news from Kazakhstan. Residents of the Granitny village prefer to keep silence about the methods of settling the recent revolt at the local maximum security prison, while experts are trying to establish grassroots of the problem. President of Kazakhstan had made offensive statements while addressing repatriates during opening ceremony of the Kazakhstan village, fully restored after the March floods. The Zelenostroy enterprise workers in Almaty demand the management to pay off the 3-month salary debts. A 25-year-old inmate of the Akmola regional prison was shot dead for attempting to escape. The convict allegedly passed through the control line and didn't react on the convoy's warnings. The incident may have been resulted from the tightened security measures the penitentiary authorities introduced in the infamous colony. After 3 days of siege, relatives of the revolting convicts were allowed to see their family members. Next report has more.
A minimum security prison had become a center of problems of the Kazakh penitentiary system. It all started with self-mutilation campaigns, yet ended with bloodshed and entrance of the troops.
Let me in. Come over here.
On August 9, 2 inmates of the given colony had cut their stomachs open. After the entrance of the internal troops into the prison, the special signs were launched warning that the object is under strict regime and no video recording is allowed.
Sir, you can't take a video in there. First there were only 2 men, then the chain reaction had started, people totally lost patience. This was supposed to happen sooner or late. As you may know, there were even a self-immolation act when the internal troops were employed. What was the purpose of it? It wouldn't happen if the severe beatings took place.
Through continuous self-mutilation acts, the convicts do not give up their initial demands to change the prison administration and the detention regime.
Convicts or prisoners usually hold certain campaigns which aim not only to improve the detention conditions but also demanding to change the detention regime or the prison administration. This also happens. This is of course obvious that the first reason for such revolts is bad conditions. However, inmates also pursue some other goals too.
Last weekend, a 25-year-old inmate of the Stepnogorsk prison was shot dead by the controllers during alleged resistance. Experts suggest that this may have been resulted from tightened internal security measures due to the tense situation within the penitentiary system. Moreover, entering the troops is not a metaphor, but a real war between the authorities and criminality, say experts, in which sides fought not for the human rights, but for the right to survive within a non-free zone.
At the moment, the mentioned colony is operating normally and appointments with convicts and their relatives are permitted. In order to get the permission, convicts' relatives had to nearly storm the Kazakh Penitentiary Systems Committee building in Astana for several days.
Hold the fort. Such was the reaction of the Penitentiary Systems Committee to the demands of the convicts' relatives. On Saturday last week, relatives of the infamous Granitny prison's inmates gathered at the Penitentiary Systems office in Astana. They wanted to find out any information about their convicted relatives. However, when they approached the building, it was already locked and surrounded by dozens of police officers.
Вот такие клетки стоят. Львов, медведей, волков.
They have such cages in circus with lions, bears and wolves, so they won't attack people. Why are you caged like that? No one will hurt you.
Previously, the same group of people, along with journalists, were pushed out of the building and were told that special forces be applied if necessary. On their second approach, people are gathering signatures under the document which reveals the violations of the penitentiary supervisors. They intend to appeal with it to the highest authorities and international organizations.
We have indicated all the violations in our appeal and hope that they will somehow react to it till Thursday, and we hopefully will get received by the official who is obliged to receive citizens according to his official schedule. Instead, we're being beaten right there. What can we say about the convicts then?
After several hours of gatherings in front of the building, no authorities came out to talk. One of the protesters, a pregnant young woman, got very nervous and started shouting and saying she will conduct a self-immolation.
Are you insane? Open the door. Let me see my brother.
No one, except for those who are in similar situation, really seems to be compassionate with the desperate woman, as the security officers observed the situation with complete indifference. Convicts' desperate relatives give another chance for the authorities for a dialogue. In case of continuous disregard, their desperation may result in an unexpected outcome. Convicts' desperate relatives give another chance for the authorities for a dialogue. In case of continuous disregard, their desperation may result in an unexpected outcome.
The Kazakh prison revolts are caused not only because of the convicts' rights violation. Russian experts suggest that the official and criminal authorities may be engaged in real war. The latter have been enjoying many benefits by bribing the prison administration for many years. This way, criminality may have reacted to the authorities attempting to deprive them from such benefits, say experts.
We call such prisons closed and black holes, access to information in which is just impossible. This creates good conditions for the prosecution office and all other involved state bodies. If there is no complaint, there is no problem. Thus, when such problem occurs, it's obvious that the prison administration had provoked it. Normally, the heads of the prison administrations are rotated once in a while, however, it doesn't really affect the situation.
We help them, but they don't help us. Kazakh repatriates have not yet contributed in the development of the country. These were the statements which President Nursultan Nazarbayev addressed the residents of Kazakhstan village restored after the recent natural disaster. Next story has more.
Despite these citizens made no contribution in establishment of the independent Kazakhstan, I believe they will do it in the future.
With this statement, President Nursultan Nazarbayev had addressed the residents of Kazakhstan village, which has been washed away by the flood on March 11 this year. A village fully restored by the state after the disaster is resided by repatriates. A poet Bazarbai from Astana is also amongst those repatriates whom President's speech offended a great deal.
Nazarbayev plays hanky-panky with saying compatriots haven't contributed in development of Kazakhstan. Even if it was true, then it is his direct fault. There are no proper conditions for repatriates in Kazakhstan. There's no employment, and I'm a good showcase for that. It feels like Nazarbayev wants to shuffle all onto repatriates.
Repatriate recalls the major earthquake that hit the Armenia 20 years ago. Then Bazarbai says Mikhail Gorbachev, being a leader of the Soviets, didn't show up in the tragedy site, just like Nazarbayev, who didn't appear in Kazlagash. Even the flood had killed more than 40 people. In Almaty, people are also discussing the president's speech. Here, people suggest to eliminate the term of Aralman that stands for repatriate, as it makes the latter feel strangers in this country.
It is important to create proper conditions before calling our compatriots living abroad to move in Kazakhstan. It is necessary to provide them with employment and housing. My father, for example, who has moved in, was working as a wing commander. We don't agree with Nazarbayev, as repatriates in Kazakhstan greatly help with demographic situation. Those from Mongolia are good at furnishing business, while those from China are really good in agriculture, and all are patriots.
President's recent speech addressed to repatriates is being hotly discussed in all over the country. However, it doesn't seem to discourage repatriates to move in Kazakhstan, although disappointed to a certain extent.
Oppositely, the hunger-striking interest holders in Astana don't take offensive at the president, but really hope he will settle their problems. The mass action participants have forwarded a letter to Nursultan Nazarbayev yesterday. They claim that they are being pressured by the local administration. However, they are not going to give up.
This was reported by the leader of the For Decent Housing movement, Zauresh Batalova, yesterday. Owner of the premise where the hunger-striking interest holders are accommodated in had asked to vacate it. Now the activists have moved into one of their fellows, Boris Pavlov's house. Interest holders have collected signatures on the appeal to the president, in which they call the authorities to pay attention to their problems. The hunger-striking campaign has started 33 days ago in protest of the state decree, which imposes limits in estate ownership rights based on one apartment per person only principle. In autumn, interest holders from the regions will join their fellows in Astana in their quest for justice.
The authorities are trying to influence through changing our address. However, this is not going to change anything. The hunger striking is still in force, and we are not going to give up. We'll continue this way up and maybe become only more active now.
Workers of the Zelenastroy company are sure that the authorities don't know how to hold civilized dialogue. Only after a whole day of protesting were they able to get paid for the last 3 months.
The street cleaners, gardeners and flower growers of Zelenostroy Joint Stock Company have organized a strike to receive their salaries. 50 people have refused to work for the third time already. President of the company, Arstambek Taniev, was persuading the workers that they will receive the money in several hours.
I'm begging you, please, go to work. No, we will not go to work. You tell this and promise this to us every day.
The problems with the staff of the Zelenostroy have started in April last year. Back then, the workers have blocked one of the main streets of Almaty. After the investigation of the incident, the prosecution office have fined the company for $55,000. Moreover, Zelenostroy was indebted to their partners, and as a result, the workers are not receiving their salaries on the regular basis for more than a year. The average earning of the city cleaners is $300 a month. In total, the company employs 426 people, which means that almost a quarter of the workers have gone on the strike.
Today people will receive their salaries. The transfer of money is currently underway in the bank and everyone will receive money until lunch. We had some debt obligations that we have already covered. This is why we were not able to pay the salaries. We will first pay the May salaries, then the June and July salaries will follow.
At the end of the working day, the money have finally arrived to the bank accounts of the city cleaners. However, the workers have warned that the partial repayment of their salaries gives only partial guarantees concerning their strikes.
After the fifth attempt, several activists were able to visit their fellow man, a human rights defender, Jambul Tuligenov, at the hospital yesterday. However, the press was not allowed to talk to the activists, and the next report explains why Tuligenov is securely hidden from the public eye.
The security officers of the Almaty Hospital No. 4 are not letting visitors inside the ward of the human rights defender Jambul Tuligenov. On June 16, the activists of the Leave Housing to People movement have gathered in front of the hospital's fence. This is already the fifth attempt to visit Tuligenov. However, the security officers are letting in his daughter only.
We think that this is an intentional isolation in order not to let the leak of information about his health and plans for the future, and of course about the information that he has gathered.
The deputy chief doctor explained that the access to the patient is undesirable. The patient is recovering, but he needs rest. Hospital is not a place for politics, but a controlled object.
Can we even talk to him for 5 minutes? I'm telling you again, let him remain in the ward.
Tuligenov was hospitalized with a broken leg and a concussion after the beating. On July 31st, 5 unidentified people have attacked the human rights defender. On the eve of the beating, Tuligenov was planning to file a lawsuit against the Financial Control Agency. At the moment, he connects the incident with his professional activities. Aynur Kurmanov and Yesen Uktishbayev were also allowed to visit Tuligenov, but the press was not allowed in. This is not the first time the administration of the clinical hospital No. 4 violates the law on the mass media and infringes the rights of the journalists. Tuligenov has written a complaint concerning this to the healthcare department.
US Army and the UK military institutions have been launched in the outskirts of Almaty. The military personnel of the three countries, such as Kazakhstan, the USA and the UK, were fighting against the terrorist groups and tracked the movement of the civilians. The Ili polygon had become a platform for the Steppe Eagle 2010 maneuvers organized by the NATO forces together with Kazbrig units.
The Kazakh peacekeeping battalion is ready and capable to take part in peacekeeping operations, undertake any task it's given. We are ready to start up wherever, whenever we are given a command.
The Steppe Eagle maneuvers are held since the year 2003 and are considered one of the examples of Kazakhstan-European military cooperation. More than 2,000 soldiers and about 100 military equipments and the helicopter unit of the Kazakh Air Mobile Forces were involved in the exercises. Representatives of some countries will be observing the maneuvers. So far, the Tajik military specialists have arrived. Such exchange of experience is crucial for our countries, especially as we have international peacekeeping and security obligations, said experts. For example, Kazakh Engineer General Service Regiment had been successfully doing peacekeeping operations in Iraq for the last 5 years.
These were the latest news from Kazakhstan. See you tomorrow. Goodbye.